Yow! What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to eSports Morning Show. This is number 19. I'm your host today, eXtine. I'm joined by my good friend PBL Gizmo from the Pro Battle League. Kyle, how you doing today, buddy?
I am awesome. It's Friday, and I am ready for a weekend.
Yeah, that sounds good to me, man. I'm hoping to get some game in, but I have projects for the weekend, unfortunately. Wah, wah.
Yeah,
And still more work, you know. There's never enough time to get some game on. It's just how it goes.
never.
Never. Well, we got a diverse array of topics that we're going to cover today. Well, I guess to start things off was what we were up to last night, which was the Arena Respawn map draft for Pro Battle League and the June Best Coast Battle. That was pretty fun. That was the first time that we've done that.
Yeah, like I said last night, I credit you in coming up with that wonderful idea of doing a map draft. So I thought it went
Yeah.
pretty well.
Yeah, well, you guys did a good job of executing it to, go into a little bit more detail of what it was and what the plan is. For this Best Coast battle, we have 8 teams representing the East Coast, 6 teams representing the West Coast, and, we have a pool of maps, and we decided that we're going to do like a best of 3 series, every time that these teams play, and the third map is going to be a map that is defined per month. So we have a map for June, which was it?
Arctic.
Arctic. Okay, thank you. Yes, Arctic. That's correct. And so every third map in June is going to go to Arctic, and the other 2 maps are dependent on what the home map of that team is. And so then when we had a map draft in order to determine that home map. And I think that's a lot of fun. I think it speaks a lot to the diversity of maps in TF2, and there's a lot of things that we could talk about, format wise, or just kind of fun things to do with stuff like that. And I don't know. I think that was really interesting. We'll see how that plays out, though. Was there any surprises in your mind of maps that got picked or maps that didn't necessarily get picked?
I was shocked that Freight got picked. I could not believe that someone
Yeah,
actually picked Freight. Like they just
I was a little
want to get
surprised
run
about
over
that
by
one.
trains.
Yeah, and it makes it interesting too as well because sometimes the teams in Arena Respawn they have a serious adversity to having to cross the point to get where you need to get to, and that
Yeah.
makes for some difficulties. And that is one of the issues with Freight. But there are kind of ways around it with Freight too. You can take the stair route, or you can kind of go underneath via the water route. But I don't think you take your whole team underneath
Yeah,
necessarily.
and then Discovery is also one of those that's difficult to get across the point
hmm
without walking right on it.
hmm
And that one was picked by both sides.
Yeah, Discovery is pretty awesome though.
Very,
They
very pretty map. I love that map.
Yeah, a bit of a Arena Respawn instant classic. So, um,
Yeah.
yeah.
And the one that I was surprised that
Mhm.
didn't get picked was Off Blast.
Oh, that's true. Off Blast is pretty popular.
It's a
I
very popular one in AR circles, at least.
I appreciated Brazil getting picked because I like Brazil. I think that Brazil plays well in Arena Respawn and kind of has some interesting class diversity as well in terms of what classes you could throw at it or what classes that you can ban out as well. So.
Yep.
I guess also to wrap up that discussion, we did decide that if a team from the West has picked a map and the team from the East has picked the same map, and those 2 teams end up facing off in the finals, we'll actually do double bans. We'll do ban on the map, and then we'll reban on the same map and play the same map again, and then we'll have that third map. So that'd be
Yeah,
interesting
it
if
gives
if
us
that happens.
gives us a lot of different perspectives on how the map can be played when
hmm
different classes are banned.
Yeah.
And the finals, all 3 maps will definitely be played no matter what because we're doing a scoring system that allows us to do that. So they have to be even more cognizant of what they're banning to go into Arctic as well. And Arctic's a very sniper dominated map.
Yeah, definitely. The ban system of Arena Respawn, and definitely that's going to have to be an issue as well. Considering that you can't ban the same map throughout the whole series, and so you have your home map, but you also are going to be reserving a ban perhaps for the final map, which is the deciding map. So we also have had some Highlander coverage going on and over at X Television, and I want to talk a little bit about UGC Highlander. And didn't get a chance to shoot a vlog yet, so I'm gonna spill the beans here. There was a little bit of a snafu in terms of just kind of unfortunately in our planning for the UGC this season, and in my lead up to it, I didn't really have a good opportunity to sit down with the UGC League or sit down with the EVLtv organization, which is an organization that has been doing some work, and I had been in touch with some of their people in the past, and had some of those people on my friends list, but we weren't really in super close communication. And we didn't, yeah, get a chance to kind of compare notes preseason. And then unfortunately, there was a snafu this last week where kind of they had posted an event, and we had already kind of planned to cover the same match. We'd already kind of talked to Mambalay and told UGC that we were covering the same match. UGC wasn't necessarily keeping us separated like they did last season. And so EVL posted their event, and kind of the eXtv take is not necessarily that we don't want to we don't want to do double coverage, you know, that in an ideal scenario. At the same time, kind of eXtv, and especially kind of my outlook currently, we're just doing a community service, and we're here to have fun. So, you know, for us, if there was another organization that wanted to cover the same map, we're kind of just going to do what we want to do, and it's no ill intent. It's just kind of like a, you know, this is what's happening in TF2, and it's a wide open world. You know, and hopefully we can get to a spot where you know, these different production companies are getting paid exclusive contracts to cover matches, and it's a bit more of something like that, of like, why would you steal matches, or why would you even bother if they're getting paid to cover that match? But, you know, anyways, so kind of a bit of confusion. The EVL guys, you know, some of them kind of felt threatened by it, and you know, we no ill will towards them. But, you know, collaboration is really kind of what we're all about and what we want to achieve, and we really just kind of want to do what's best for the community. Obviously, there is a little bit of selfishness in there, but, you know, just to make things easy and make it so that we can kind of be happy with what we're doing and not overstressed by things. Well, you know, the EVL guys and eXtv, we all want the same stuff. We just want to, you know, grow the community and help out the community. And we had conversations, kind of our crew, their whole crew, everybody kind of talking together. And thankfully, we kind of ironed some things out, and you know, have agreed to work together with those guys. And basically, you know, they've hired Dashner, brought Dashner on, which is something that we didn't really have the resources or the capabilities to do, to have him as our producer this season, which is something that we wanted to accomplish. That was our goal for this season. But EVL does have some resources to throw to Dashner. I chimed in on that as well, and will be contributing to that, to assist with that. But EVL is contributing a little bit more. And EVL, and their goal, what their priority is, their priority is to grow their live stream and what they're doing with their live stream, and get more eyeballs. And they're doing more stuff than just the UGC, or just the Monday Night Platinum. And they also want to continue to really go hard with that Monday Night Platinum matches. And for us, you know, the benefit that I want, or the benefit that I see that also helps the community the most, is to get those VODs on my YouTube channel. And that's because our YouTube channel has awesome distribution, 120,000. EVL could put the exact same effort into what they're doing and then put it on their YouTube channel, and they're just not really going to get any traction on it. And that's just kind of sucky and not too good. You know, so I want to help them with that and help them get the views on that content, and as well as our casting crew and what we do. So we're going to collaborate with EVL to have Dashner be in charge of the UGC stream, and get the casters being there, the top level casters, kick ass on the coverage, and then get it on our YouTube. So I'm excited to collaborate with them. It's going to make my life easier. It's going to make everybody's life easier. And you know, we want to promote EVLtv, and we'll help them get more views on their YouTube in the end run. So I'm excited about that. Stabby couldn't join us again this week. He's still had some more craziness coming on, but hopefully next week, you know, we can have him on to talk about Ginyu hoops and some more UGC Highlander action, because UGC is getting rolling. Have had some interesting match results, but you know, still more to develop. The drama, the storyline still coming, Kyle. But
I need to
Kyle,
follow a little bit more of that programming that you put out there.
That's all right. I know you're not really following UGC Highlander. You're hyped on that Arena Respawn Tuesday, Thursday.
On that train.
Yeah. Tuesday, Thursday, we'll be doing Arena Respawn. But you know, I don't know if we got much more to talk about TF2. You know, there's some Source 2 hype over on the Dota side. There's maybe some, you know, there's always like the patch hype when it comes, like, you know, there's like 2 notes of patch, and it's like there's got to be something hidden in there. There's got to be
This patch
something
is actually
else.
pretty awesome for server admins. I can now just
Oh
type
yeah.
map space draft, and I can change maps. Like
Oh,
20 characters I lost every single time I type a map change.
that's pretty awesome. Map draft.
Pretty happy. Yep, just
Yeah.
map draft, map discovery. Don't have to add all the frills and things. It's getting smarter. Gladys is on her way.
Yeah, they kind of busted up the ESEA servers a bit, I guess, in their process. So apparently there was a
Yeah,
little
it
bit of
hurt
issue
ours
with
as
that.
well.
Yeah, and I know that we were having some problems. So, but we'll sort that out. That always happens with the TF2 patches, and at least we're not. I don't know. Well, we're all waiting for this matchmaking. It's tough to say, when that might be. It's just going to show up sometime. I guess one thing I do want to touch on, and Kyle, I don't know if you were aware of this. You have been in touch with the TF2 Center guys, and TF2 Center just announced their plans for the advanced lobbies, is what they're calling it. And the advanced lobbies, I believe, is like 2 keys for 2 months. And then you get into more private lobbies. I'm not sure if the servers are provided. I might have to double check that, but it's more tied into player rankings, and at least to start, it's kind of a closed circle of players. So it's kind of like the first time in the community that we've had a community organized kind of upper echelon of paid lobbies, paid to be there. And
Well, it's the same premise behind like disc golf. Like everyone can go use a disc
yeah.
golf course. Like everyone can go use TF2 Center. But there's
Hmm.
always been that question in my mind, like if they made me pay $5 or $10 to go play on a nice disc golf course, I would do it. So to
Yeah.
have this upper echelon of service, like you said, I would pay for that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's out there, and I mean that's honestly what, in a sense, ESEA is offering, in certainly in Counter Strike, the Counter Strike ESEA pubs, pugs with a G. That's why they get some love, and that's why a lot of people sign up for ESEA Premium. Now, with the advanced lobbies, I see a lot of potential as well, because um, you just look at our numbers, and even just like, I mean, yeah, like, okay, say right now, the TF2 lobby guys are putting in their money to host the servers and do what they need to do. For one, they don't have any ads. I don't believe they have any ads on their website. So pat on the back to them for that. They're not really trying to um, paste all sorts of stuff everywhere to try to cash in on the significant amounts of traffic that they are getting. And for one, they deserve some sort of reward for that, some sort of at least compensation, at least to keep things rolling, and to provide for a higher level of service. And additionally, TF2 Center with like the Archimedes Cup, or just the potentials of anything like a ETF2L, NATF2L, any sort of overall international organization that can have a positive impact on the game, even XTV. You need to have some sort of income, some sort of profit stream, and so it's very exciting for them to have it. I mean, right now I just pulled up their website, and you have 656 players online, 400 from Europe, and about 200 from North America, and that number has definitely continued to climb. I mean, I think that's doubled, maybe doubled from a year ago. I'm not too sure, but that's pretty good growth out of TF2 Center. And if you imagine that, even a tenth of those players pay for advanced lobbies, and this is the people that are active right now. So you do all sorts of theoretical math. We could just say if everybody that was active right now, and just said that slice of the pie basically could represent the slice of pie that people would pay for this sort of service. If they got 600 keys a month, yeah, that's they could have a pretty significant positive impact in the community with 600 keys a month. You
Yeah.
say what they take, like let's say 200, and this is probably a larger estimate. And again, all these are like super rough numbers, but let's say they take 200 keys, essentially flip those into whatever to turn that into server hosting money. You say you're left over with 400 keys. That's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Solid amount that they can be playing with. And server
Hmm.
expenses are are pretty high sometimes, especially if you're spinning them up on the fly and needing to do a lot of things like conventional
Hmm.
matchmaking does. They can run into a lot of costs really quickly.
Yeah, and I mean, most of the TF2 Center stuff is utilizing, servers that people are bringing to the table. And I forget if they have advanced lobbies or then using, personal servers there. If that is the case, then I'm sure that they will probably have servers that are kind of they have some good relationships, so I'm sure that if they do that with servers, they'll be pretty speedy and pretty significant. So yeah, I'm definitely excited about that. I think there's a lot of potential there. And again, TF2 overall, we're continuing to build the framework and the foundations, and there's still a lot to grow in regards to that sort of stuff to get to a point where we're having more tournaments, and those tournaments are able to sustain multiple teams and get things rolling. And I-55 is a really exciting thing. That the fundraisers are going on for that, and we're trying to get the teams over there once again, and that's going to be an awesome event. But those sort of things, just kind of, even though they're still small now, kind of hard to get rolling. It just opening that door wider and wider, Kyle. The future potentials of TF2.
Yep.
Now, let's switch gears a little bit. I know that Keeker talked about MLG a little bit yesterday, but we haven't talked about it. And there was a new MLG announcement, as well as the MLG X Games event that wrapped up. And the new MLG announcement was about a New Orleans event that was $500,000, I believe, total prize pool. And then I imagine that's being split between Call of Duty and Dota, which are the two games that are being highlighted. And now, also with the X Games, actually, that's an interesting question, because I know that I was able to pull up, using my Watch ESPN app, I was able to pull up the Dota X Games stuff at Austin and use Chromecast and watch that at work. But I'm not sure if I would have been able to pull up the Call of Duty. Do you know if the Call of Duty from that event was on ESPN3?
I actually don't know.
Okay. Just a curious question. And the reason why I asked this and trying to get around to it, if figuring that out, is because basically there is a bit of a marketing issue with maybe not. There is a bit of a marketing issue with first-person shooter games and airing those on ESPN, or other outlets or other groups that either have sponsorship advertising power, and are interested in supporting FPSs as an esport. And looking at it, yeah, and okay, I see Hubweb saying it as well, and also confirming it. I pulled it up on the side as well. I could pull up all those Dota odds, but I could not pull up any of the Call of Duty odds. And I know that FPS shooters are not going to appear on ESPN. And I wonder if TF2 could ever be an exception to that. If it's an issue with the modern outlook and setup, or if it's just straight up the mechanic of click and point, I guess. I mean, that is what a shooter is, Gizmo. When I've defended it back in the day, a shooter is point and click, just like everything else. But
Yeah.
you know,
And there's a lot of elements that go into games like CS and Call of Duty that really aren't as widespread
mhm.
appealing to audiences on ESPN, because it's taking essentially like MMA to the next level in a virtual environment. And I know that I've talked to a couple people that are not interested in doing anything with those games because of the level of realism.
Yeah.
It's just not something they can market to an entire pool, like a family group, ranging in age groups from children to adults. It's just not something they can safely do without offending somebody.
Hmm. You think that TF2 does TF2 need to be run in party mode? If it was in party mode, if all the exploding bodies were balloons,
I
would that?
believe that does help in some instances.
Mhm.
I know we've discussed with some people that they don't want to see any gore. If they see blood, that they can't show it. So you can turn off most of that stuff in TF2, and normally in MOBAs, you don't really see the detail that you would in a game like CS or Call of Duty.
Yeah, that's true for sure as well. I mean, even a game like Street Fighter that has plenty of virtualized violence, there isn't that blood aspect or decapitation or something like that. I mean,
Yeah, it's not like Mortal Kombat.
Mortal Kombat has gotten some traction, but that I guess still is a bit more fantastical than people running around with machine guns in urban environments.
Yeah, and my take on TF2 has always been that it's kind of a gory Pixar movie, if you want to look at it that way. And you can turn the gore off, so it just turns into a Pixar movie where they're shooting each other. So,
I definitely think it's interesting that MLG is basically, they're those two games right now. I haven't seen them do anything else with anything else, and that's interesting to see about how they might evolve out of that.
Tournaments, and
the battle
they
arenas
have been forever, but they have finally started to focus down on a few games, and I think they've realized that those audiences are out there that want to see consistent programming of those two games that they're running, and they're hitting the PC and the console market right now with Dota and COD.
Now, this might be an ignorant question: Is Overwatch have any console plans?
I don't know, but they're gonna have to with their top competitor jumping onto the Xbox One.
Yeah. I don't quite know what Overwatch's plan there is. Overwatch is definitely an interesting possibility for MLG and this conundrum that we're talking about as well in regards to shooters, because you kind of take that sci-fi approach and it kind of takes it out of that element. There's still definitely some violent aspects to Overwatch and what's happening there, but I think it is much closer to TF2 in the regards that you kind of look past that, since it's more like lasers and fantastical rocket explosions against people in armor, and then they kind of just fade away. It's not very gory, and I think Blizzard definitely has probably considered that possibility. It's definitely part of their marketing strategy. They have to have looked at that for sure.
Yeah, they pay a lot of people way too much money to not think about those kinds of things.
So go ahead, Kyle.
Really, doing that cross-platform is going to be the future of gaming. It really is, because you're now drawing in audiences that are two very distinct audiences right now and pulling them in together. And as far as an esports goes, you have to have that cross-platform connectivity just to have the awareness of your game to really take an esport to the next level.
And I think that Steam has kind of been hammering on some of that, at least in terms of the different kind of audiences of gamers, and more so as well. There's different audiences of gamers, but then there's different environments of gamers in terms of like where are you playing your game. And I think another aspect of that is how are you playing your game, and that's controller wise. And I think Overwatch, in some senses, is getting into this issue of, and I think TF2 has faced it in ways that also kind of the backlash against it from the competitive aspect has kind of created troubles for us. But TF2 as a core has different classes that you could play as different skill levels. And I remember that always being one of my pleasures with TF2 and suggesting it to other people, where it's like, if you're TF2 and you're a noob, start on medic, start on engineer. Just stand in the back, build your sentry gun, no problem. Overwatch is seeming like it's developing a couple characters, that have different levels of skill involved. Like I was watching a gameplay video of Pharah was the character name, and it's basically like a soldier with a jetpack and a rocket launcher, and that's going to have a high level of deathmatch skill. But I've definitely heard that some of the other characters involved are very not high level of deathmatch skill. There are a few other projectile classes, but some of the other classes are some of the ultimates, or you just click a button and your guy shoots 6 people. There's different ways there, and with Overwatch, I'm not sure how some of that stuff is going to adapt. But with other games, if you can have people that are playing different types of characters, and whether they're playing on a controller or playing on keyboard mouse, if they still can kind of get in a type of game and compete. Dota and MOBAs, full-on MOBAs, they can't really hit that console controller area. The Steam controller, people are still not sure how you're going to play Dota on Steam controller. Still not sure
Yeah, the
about that.
crossover there, you just need more control, more
Hmm.
customization to really manipulate some of those characters the way that they're designed to be played.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean that's definitely part of the aspect. That's definitely things that we'll have to keep an eye on for E3. Hubweb saying Smite is happening on console. That is super interesting. We'll have to check that out. E3 is coming up this next week, and certainly there's going to be a lot of news on E3. Just a lot of different games that are going to be there. I think Gigantic's going to be there. Overwatch is going to be there probably. And I'm sure there's going to be all sorts of games we don't even expect to be there. We'll see what games are really have that esports impact. But I think esports is becoming a larger and larger part of what has already become a very, very large industry.
Waiting for Bethesda to take another whack in the esports game.
Another what was their first? Or just
Well,
a whack?
Brink was
Oh,
technically a Bethesda game.
yeah, that's still splash damage. Much love to Dirty Bomb, our boy Fish Sticks, who's a little occupied with projects, had a couple other things going on too. He's a big fan of Fish Sticks, and also one of my other friends, Owen, in charge of Dirty Cups, at least one of the people in charge of Dirty Cups. And they've been doing a good job trying to get people involved in that game and get people excited about that game. That game and the fundamentals of that game are awesome. I really enjoy it. I think it's solid. I don't have a whole lot of time to play it currently right now. I know that they're accelerating. Um, they have accelerated the cash earn, um, and I don't know, just how the rate at which you earn everything, and that is good. But to me, I don't know. I haven't been playing much, and I was pretty intimidated, pretty scared by how long it took to unlock characters. It seems like they got a lot of characters, and for a game that's just like, oh, new character $10, new character $10, new character $10, new character $10. I'm still just not really completely comfortable with that business model overall. It still just kind of gives me the heebie-jeebies. Maybe I'm just too old
Scares you
school,
away.
Kyle. Yeah,
It scares you right away. I have no
yeah,
problem paying $10 for skins for characters that I play a lot of, but not going to pay $10 for a character.
yeah. And it's they have a couple characters that you could rotate through, and I think there is enough depth in Dirty Bomb that you can stick with a character for a while. But it's also sometimes the kind of depth where it's like the competitive depth, not necessarily kind of just like an initial depth. If the depth is at this like really really hardcore level, it's hard to make that jump from being like I'm a casual and I'm interested in it versus being like I'm gonna be so good at this character because I want to be the best because I'm playing in all these leagues and stuff, or competitions. The depth of Dota in MOBAs is good because it sucks you in from the beginning, and as a new player, you just really feel like you have to learn more to get better, and not necessarily that there's pay to win or these other aspects. I want to address a couple other things that are coming up just kind of in some of the chats on the side about Dirty Bomb. A couple people asking some questions about the crates or the grind or if it's pay to win. And there are different loadouts and crates that you open up, but the crates are actually pretty easily available. And actually, they've done a fairly good job in the sense that there's like 5 or 6 levels to the tiers to the cards that you get out of the crates, and bronze, is obviously not the highest. And at bronze is when you have potential to get all the best loadouts that you need, the best weapons, the best loadouts. So everything up past that is maybe I don't know if there's slightly better odds at getting some of the better loadouts. But then there's skins and stuff like that. So the crates are really easily available. They don't cost money to open. So the crates are very well handled. Getting the different characters is difficult, and that certainly kind of has an aspect that, even earlier in the beta, like if your team does not have a sniper in their loadout, and you're up against a team that has a sniper and it's a sniper map, it's going to be extremely difficult to dislodge him and get past that. There are certain loadouts, certain other things that you can do to try to deal with it, but if it's just straight up, they have a sniper and just nobody on your team can play the sniper, that's difficult. And like I said, the unlock is a little bit up there, but the gameplay, all that stuff is really good. Everything else, though, is a little bit tough. Well, Kyle, anything you want to throw in here before we wrap up? We got started a little bit late, so we're allowing ourselves a little drag over time, but I think we're closing in on about 30 minutes here.
Yeah, definitely. Check out Tuesday and Thursday. We're going to be doing some of the group stages for the Best Coast Battle, and then the following week, Tuesday is the finals for the East and West Coasts, and then Thursday is the grand finals to determine Best Coast. Make sure to check that out on eXtv.
Yeah, we're excited about that coverage, and definitely there will be Monday night UGC Platinum coverage. The live stream of that is going to be happening on EVLtv. Check them out. They are great people. We will still be coordinating it, playing our little hand, and making sure that the best coverage is happening. If I am not on that stream and I am around, I might be doing a straight-to-tape UGC coverage just to kind of further increase what we're able to hit out there. And, you know, it's going to be a lot of fun, and we're doing great stuff and continuing to move forward. It was a lot of fun having you here on the Esports Morning Show. Once again, Kyle, thanks for joining me.
Thank you very much.
And we'll be back next week. Make sure to tune into the Esports Morning Show. I host it on my Twitch, twitch.tv/eXtv esports when I am the host. But otherwise, you can find all the information for it over on mm1.fm, which also happens to be a wonderful Android app for esports news. So please check that out. And yeah, they also do this live show Tuesday and Thursday mornings, kind of a revolving door between Keeker DC, Andrew Coonrad, and Ben Fishsticks Goldhaber, some of my favorite people. So please tune into this show on those other mornings. Thanks for watching, ladies and gentlemen. I am eXtine. I will see you guys next time. Peace out!